Wow. Zack Snyder overused slow motion. This is my surprised face. Howdy all, I am Adam the Renaissance Nerd, and welcome to my review of Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 1, Child of Fire. We have waited for this one. I have already said that I wasn't exactly excited for this, but I was curious. Can Zack Snyder pull off space opera epic? Can Zack Snyder actually create something from the ground up? Make it compelling, make it interesting, pull you into a universe of his own creation? The answer? I'm going to tell you right now, no. If you want to keep watching the review, by all means, keep doing so. I'll tell you why. Zack Snyder has a style. Zack Snyder has a motif. Dark, gritty, grounded, in your face, very grrr. And that is what this movie is. There's no grace, there's no elegance. Know what? There's also no adventure, no excitement. A Jedi does crave these things. Here's the deal. We're going to walk through this right now, bit by bit. I'm going to tell you a brief synopsis of what goes on. There will be some spoilers. I can't get my points across without some spoilers, so bear with me. After all, you're probably watching this, so you don't have to watch it, so what do you care? So we're going to go over the story of the movie. Then we're going to basically critique it. I'm going to talk about these characters. I'm going to talk about the story, the pacing, the dialogue, the music, the overall world building. We're going to break it all down the best we can for you, and then we're going to just sit back and unfortunately wait for part 2 sometime, I believe, in April. Anyway, let's get on with it, shall we?
On the Mother World, 1,000 kings ruled unchallenged in succession. But in the royal bloodline's lust for power, they consumed everything upon their planet.
What a waste of Sir Anthony Hopkins. But frankly, he gives one of the best performances in this movie, and it's just his voiceover for the opening monologue and the VA work for the CGI robot that we get in the beginning of the movie, and then we don't see for all the rest of it until the final scene where he's wearing a crown of stag horns. Rebel Moon Part 1, Child of Fire. What is this movie? Essentially, it's supposed to be the birth of a rebellion against this, I don't even know, galactic kingdom empire called the Mother World. It doesn't even actually have a name. It's just called the Mother World, the realm. And it has expanded so far for its ages that it consumes resources quickly and just destroys shit. They're supposed to be bad, okay? Their king and their queen and their sole heir daughter were assassinated, and that threw everything into an uproar, and then some general called Belisarius became the regent and declared war on everything again. I don't know why. They don't really give us much reasons other than power hungry, get revenge for the death of the king, whatever. Don't know. Doesn't really matter because you know what? This story doesn't make you interested. We arrive on this planet called Velt. It's a farming moon. We are focusing on some character called Cora, who has a whole nother name for her background. Something Annaleus, Scargiver. Don't really care. We're supposed to care about her. We're supposed to care about every single one of these characters I'm going to tell you about in a minute as they're introduced. But you know what? They're shallow. They're boring. They are this skin deep. There's no depth. There's no soul to any of this. And that's one of the crimes of this movie. There's no soul. Let me get back to the story, though. Cora's on this little farming planet, clearly hiding away from life. She has 2 men vying for her affection, and that's really going to follow into nothing later on. What happens is suddenly the Mother World forces a ship called the King's Gaze, which is commanded by an admiral who likes to have sex with a tentacle monster. I shit you not. I shit you not. They arrive seeking food. She sees it. She tells them, tries to tell the farming community, they have to say, we're a community. We're a community. We're a community. If they said community one more time, I was going to scream. Fortunately, when we leave the planet, they don't mention the word community again. Anywho, Cora sees it, says, listen, they're not going to make a deal with you. They're going to kill you all. They're going to take, destroy, grape, and pillage your planet, and it's not going to matter in the end what you do. What happens? Gee, it's exactly what she predicts is going to happen. Admiral comes down, eventually kills the head of the community in a show of, this is what you get when you talk back to me and try to lie to me. La da da. So now they have 9 weeks to deliver the food. 9 weeks to deliver the food. And now they have to have a rebellion because Korra convinces them it's going to be bad. Why? Here's what happens. Predictability. That's one of the most interesting things about this movie. It's predictable all the way up to the third act, where I did get a little bit of a twist. Wasn't quite expecting it, but here you go. Admiral Mann leaves a unit of soldiers behind who are all clearly horrible, bad people. Except for one little dude who takes a liking to the water girl of the village. But the problem is, every other soldier takes a liking to the water girl of the village. They have a droid. He's the Anthony Hopkins droid. Let's call Anthony Hopkins droid. Doesn't have a name. It's just a droid. He seems to be a nice guy. They have a whole moment where they introduce him. He even falls in a pile of shit that you make sure they used to see the horse-like creature take the shit, so you could see him then fall in the shit when the soldiers abuse him because he won't fight back, because after the king died, he and his fellow droid brothers won't raise their weapons anymore. I know. Why? Again, this world building is terrible. We get to a moment here that makes zero sense. He's told to go clean himself up at the river. He goes down to the river, and we get a moment of just pure exposition dump as he sits there with Water Girl explaining how much he loved his king, how much he loved the princess, and how he and his brothers would have died for them, while he wipes poop off his face. And then she touches his face. Oh, it was a nice dream that she was magical. The princess was magical. And his sensors light up from her touch. It's really boring. I gotta tell you, it's boring and stupid, and why are we listening to this? You know what the problem is here? They're busy yammy on about world-building information that is just poorly being dumped on us with no sort of flair, no sort of excitement. Just a girl and a CGI robot voiced by Anthony Hopkins, blah, 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 for about 5 or 8 minutes. After that, predictability happens. Korra wants to run away. The man who saved her when she apparently crashed on the ship tells her, don't run away, stand and fight, help us. No, I'm going to run away. As she's trying to run away, predictability part 2. All the soldiers tried to grape the water girl. Gee, as though we didn't see this coming when they were all eyeing her like hungry dogs looking at meat. Right, they pull her into the cabin that they've commandeered for their barracks, and they all want to line up to her. Well, the one little nice guy who didn't want to do it, who made eyes for her, tries to stop it. He gets beat up, but then here comes Korra. Korra, who we already can tell is a super badass. Korra walks in, does her super badass thing, basically kills everybody. Little dude breaks free. They fight him off together. What happens? Commander, who wanted to grape the girl first, tries to kill her. But then here comes Anthony Hopkins' droid to, boom, right him in the face for the first and only action he'll take the entire movie. I'm going to stop right here. And I'm going to now bullet point the rest of the movie, because I just wanted to set you up. This is the setup for this movie. Predictable. You knew there would be an inciting incident that would force Korra to regain her vigor, her desire to fight, and there it was. And we're off to the races, so to speak. She goes along with the farm man who has the hots for her, as she now has to go recruit troops to defend the moon against the mother planet, whatever it is, forces. There's your movie. This is a fetch quest movie. Let's go collect people. Let's go do them favors so they'll join us. Or in some cases, just say hi and they jump on the bandwagon. First, foremost, you got to go get General Titus, the greatest general, the greatest tactician the mother planet has ever seen. He turned on them and then vanished. But we do happen to know exactly where he is pretty soon. He's on a planet fighting in a coliseum. Wow, that was so hard. Then along the way, we're going to travel to one planet after another and pick up people. And I'll give the movie a little bit of credit. There is an actual method behind this, because the rogue, the Han Solo type, who seems to be helping them because he wants to join the cause after first taking money, decides to, hey, I'm going to help you out of the goodness of my heart. Well, maybe not so much, but we'll get to that in a minute. He basically leads them around to collect a bunch of people. There is no depth, no development of any of these characters. They say 3 or 4 lines. These people have no dialogue, none whatsoever. And some of them are really good actors, like the dude who plays General Titus. You'll recognize him. He's a really good actor, but he does nothing. He does absolutely nothing. Because when they finally get to him after collecting some dude who can ride a griffin, who we learn later in the throwaway line that he's a former prince of something, we get an Asian chick who dual wields heat blades. They're not lightsabers, they're just heat blades. Who lost her family, and her name is Nemesis. I remember that. Her name is Nemesis. Then after you get Nemesis Lady, then we end up on the Colosseum planet where General Titus is there. And when they finally get to General Titus, they find him drunk. And what does he do? He gets a bath and a stern talking to from Korra and joins up. You gotta understand, each one of these people I just described, dude who flies on a griffin, who's a former prince, who likes to walk around without a shirt on, Asian chick Nemesis with 2 heat blades, and General Titus, they all just join up. Okay, we're basically just introduced to them to see what they can do. That's it. There's no other character development for these people. And along the way, we meet the 2 resistance brother and sister chick, the Blood Axes, who's the whole reason that the Mother Kingdom forces are out here on the far reaches of, I guess, the galaxy. They don't even mention, is this the galaxy, the universe? I don't know. I'm very confused because Zack Snyder doesn't world build this at all. But I get sidetracked, excuse me. They finally meet up with the 2 Blood Axe siblings who are supposed to give them forces. The sister doesn't want to do it. The brother does want to do it. The brother convinces a few people to go with them back to the planet. But then, slick Han Solo wannabe rogue guy says, hey, we need to make a delivery first because I want to give up my life of crime. I want to join the cause because seeing you has inspired me to be honorable again. Well, you know what actually happens? He's not so honorable. Turns out he led them along the way to collect these people that could help them because he's actually a piece of shit. And he turns them all in. Here comes Mr. Admiral Man to try and capture them all. But then Farmer Man says, hey, I'm going to be brave and save everybody. He helps turn the tables. And then we get a nice, big, weird little fight where nothing freaking happens. Yes, there's action. The good guys sort of win, and they return to the planet. And then Admiral Man, who we think is dead, talks to the Regent, who turns out to be Korra's foster father, the Regent Belisarius, who wants her to come back so he can just torture her in front of the Senate and solidify his power, whatever. And then Admiral Man is supposed to now go and raise the planet and destroy everything. That's the setup for movie 2. Have I gone through this quickly? I had to, because that's the bare bones of this movie. Nothing really happens. You go from one planet to another, collecting people with shallow stories, barely anything to do, and then suddenly they're a team and they're all happy to be brave together and win the victory. Yay! That's the problem with this movie. Well, one of the problems with this movie. Zack Snyder cannot tell a story. This movie is a slapdash, haphazard, poorly connected chain of events which relies heavily on coincidence. A lot of coincidence is needed. It just so happens that they arrive at the right moment where they see the one contact they need to find the Blood Axes. He gets taken away so that fake Han Solo rogue man, who turns out to be a bad boy, can then take them on a merry journey. It's a lot of coincidence to even start this off, and then everything else, very easy to find the people they need. These are supposed to be people who are on the run from the big bad mother planet. Yet, rogue Han Solo bad man easily found all of them. Very easily. General Titus, easily found. Nemesis, an Asian lady, easily found. These are wanted people. There's no connective tissue. There's no bonds formed between any of them. The only bond is between Farmer Man and Korra. And even that is just because Korra's lived there for a couple of years. We get no more to their relationship other than he has the hots of her, and she really doesn't reciprocate. Because it seemed during the movie, she had it for rogue Han Solo guy who turned out to be a bad man who then turned on them. She was kind of leaning in towards him, ignoring Farmer Man with what little screen time we had with characters actually talking to each other. And that's the thing. Their dialogue, the conversations, development, next to nothing. All they do is, I'm talking to you. Let's go here. Okay, let's do this. Oh, would you like to join us? Sure. That's it. There's no adventure, no excitement. There's no moments that truly bond them all together until the haphazard final battle at the refueling station. That's the problem here. It's boring. There's no connection to these characters. I don't care about anybody in this. Nothing at all. Then there's the other problem. Let's talk about the structure of the movie. It's sloth-like. We just plod along, have a couple of brief action sequences here and there, and then we're expected to be excited for what's to come. Not to mention, I swear to God, Zack Snyder, stop with the slow motion. Every action scene is just slow motion. So you can watch somebody do a badass move. That's all you get. The action is poorly choreographed, and the slow motion movements is there to mask the poor choreography. Not to mention, Zack Snyder's bad habit of making everything look drab and dirty and disgusting continues in this movie. That's right, Rebel Moon, if you watch the trailers, that's the color of the whole movie. Drab. There's no brightness. There's no bam. There's no luminosity to this. There's nothing to pull you in and capture the eye. Is it pretty graphically wise? Yes. It looks nice, sort of, but otherwise it's just drab, flat, and boring to consume. I'm not engaged. I'm not pulled in. The ship designs are your average generic long ship sci-fi ships. There's no power. There's no grace. There's no fantastic. There's nothing to latch onto and go, whoa, because you're never going, whoa, at all in this whatsoever. You're just sitting back and waiting for one scene to slowly, sloppily roll into the other. The music, boring. For a minute when this started, I thought this was going to be some sort of haunting, chanting type, choral-esque soundtrack, but in the end, you get nothing. It's just, one little tapering off tune into another. I couldn't remember a track from this right now. If you all super chatted me $1,000 each, I wouldn't remember it. I'd have to lie and pretend. But then again, I don't lie and pretend with you guys. I tell you the truth. And the truth is, from beginning to end, this movie is boring. The world building is shallow. We hear a lot of names, a lot of incidents. We get a bunch of flashbacks for story dump, but that's just what they are. Flashbacks for story dump, intending to try and make you get attached to Korra and other people. But in the end, you haven't expanded our minds. You haven't drawn us in. I see no structure to this world. Everybody was talking about, oh man, Zack spent so much time. He's got volumes, hours, all this stuff. It's a giant world. It's so deep. I saw nothing of that in this. We get planet names. We get the mother planet. We get the death of this, 1,000 generations of kings. Maybe there's magic because the dead princess could bring things back to life, but there's nothing to it. We see a bunch of rando aliens. Yeah, decent designs, but I don't care about that because it means nothing in the overall world building, source material, lore, story. There's no history to this. What we get is just an info dump explanation of things. Not meant to draw you in, meant to just kind of let you know what's going on. And that's why, in the end, Zack Snyder has failed. He created a flat, boring, lifeless world with characters that have zero connection, zero emotion, that just appear and do things because the story needs them to do it, needs it to move it forward. Rebel Moon, Part 1, Child of Fire, is not fire. It is boring. It is slow motion, the movie. But I will be here to review Part 2 because I'm already knee-deep in this. I might as well get neck-deep and finish the job. Thank you for watching this review. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, help it grow, and I will see you next time. Take it easy. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you'd like to reach out to me, please email me at theranernerd@gmail.com for all channel business purposes. I am on Twitter now, mostly for promotion and sharing of videos. Maybe a little shit stirring here and there. Who knows? @TheRenNerd. You can also find me at the Geeks and Gamers forums under @ROAS, and you can see me on Rumble and Odyssey under the Renaissance Nerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.